Hey there folks, game number 3 between Welmu and Life. It's a longer game. I'm going to speed it up at the beginning whether you like it or not because there's a lot of casting today. And I already know that it's a longer game. First two games, Welmu has just been playing out of his mind. The first game was just brilliant from him and how he managed to deal with what was potentially a really greedy situation from Life. Game number 2, I'm still trying to figure it out. I mean, the guy, Life saw the immortal timing, had 3 bases up well saturated so he could afford to build the units he needed to, had a lot of time to think about it and build exactly what he needed to, and still ended up losing it. I don't know if the answer was a faster Hydra attack maybe, Zerglings to be able to, take a bit of the damage away from the roaches and get the surrounds. I'm not sure what the answer was. Attacking the army while it was in transit. Like, there had to be something else the guy could do to offset that. But we're on a very large map. Welmu going for cybernetic score expand, and we have this 3 games in a row. 3 hatches before pool. And the interesting thing is, other than game number 1 where it was a map to get caught on and be greedy, there really hasn't been anything that Welmu's done specifically to punish this. 4-player maps, I'm sure Life is a huge fan of being able to do this kind of build. It's just, that last game with that immortal timing, it's so strong right now that Zerg's having so much trouble with this immortal warp prism timing on 2 bases. And it's just sad to see that on a huge map, cross spawns, lots of time to scout and see what's coming and prepare, somebody with the control and caliber of Life still couldn't hold it off. So, add fuel to the fire of the balance debate if you like. Cybernetic core expand is underway. Warp gate research, cruising along. Zerg flare, overlords are in position. Lings will come near and see that it is a couple of gateways here at the part of the wall off. Stargate as well. This overlord should be able to come in here and see this. Yeah, I know I'm still going at a faster speed, but I'll slow down now because there's zealots on the way. Get the... I thought he might just time warp those queens just to be able to get them off creep and get the surround. Ton of links coming out now, but it is zealots. Salutes. Lots of zealots. So let's see what this can do. Stargate's about to finish up as well. There's no spine crawlers, there's no roach deck, there's a lot of queens. Life loves getting a lot of queens down. The mothership core gets targeted down really fast. Zealots are doing what they can, right? Against the Lings, they're trading super well. Queens don't deal a lot of damage, so it takes a long time for them to kill the Zealots. Now that there's a lot of creep for these queens, they're going to be able to back up pretty fast, though. I'm sure what Welmu would love is to see these queens get too far off creep. There's always another pylon over here as well if you wanted to use it. He does have a full wall off over here. And the Oracle is out. Was there another Oracle made by any chance that I just didn't catch? No, just the one. Still a lot of Zealots over here. Still making more Zealots. There's a Forge on the way. I'm sure you'd like to get that +1 down. Spore Crawler's already in position. Just knows what's coming at him here. The thing is, if he actually had a couple of Oracles as a part of this attack, I'm sure that he'd actually be able to cruise through this pretty good. But all these queens with transfuse energy make air unit attacks much less effective. And this Oracle has not been spotted. We saw that in game number 1. The Oracle's got something like 30 worker kills. So we see that Life does not want to lose to something as straight up as that. So many Zealots. +1 is being researched. Good transfuse. Tries to pick up that Oracle at the last second there. What did I see finish over there? I thought I saw another air unit. I did not. I am high. Twilight Council, Pylon. many queens is he up to right now? 7 queens. I like the heavier queen style. It takes a lot of unit control to do that, but on a big map like this, spreading that creep, doing everything else right. Zealots are just going to have to run for it. The roaches are out. He's going to sack a couple zealots to try and slow down the roaches as much as possible. These guys have speed? They don't look like they're moving very fast. No, they don't. He doesn't even research any speed. We might be going straight into Roach, Hydra, and Swarm Host tech. Style I love to watch. Super, super classic. Now, these sentries are the perfect time for some force fields. I thought he might try to force field the roaches up onto the higher ground and use the zealots around and the warp prism to just crush through that. But it keeps all of his units alive, so I can't blame that. Lots of energy on these queens though. I expect like 12 creep tumors to go down here in the next little bit. Back to droning up hard. We see that the Zerg player is starting to pull away quite a bit. Couple cannon, well, just a cannon going down to the front serves a couple of purposes. That's not going to stop a lot of run-bys, but at least will serve as a bit of detection in case there's some burrowed roach play, which is really, really classy. Another base going down. I was watching some amateur games, like some bottom, like bronze, silver, gold amateur games. I'm seeing this really fun play out of people that they don't have the greatest control and greatest strategies, but they love taking tons of bases. They'll take so many different bases, and they'll just, if they lose one or two, it's not even that big of a deal. I actually find it really enjoyable to watch. Lots of economy. They just have this ability to replenish things so quickly and be more formidable. Spire on the way. It'd be interesting to see a really big mute attack. Get some of that Scarlet style play. I believe it has now been scouted. Does see the Spire. So we'll see if he's going to continue with that approach. The Stargate is finished. Maybe we'll see him throw down a second Stargate. Phoenixes are on the way now. Yes, there's the Stargates. 2 more Stargates going down. Lots of overloads over here. So supply-wise, Life's got a ton of opening. 10 mutas on the way. So it's now up to whether or not the control can be good enough to take care of this. Pretty good force fields there. He's actually going to clean up a lot of these Zerg forces down here. He's going to have to try and keep those alive in one spot. He could try to pressure with those, but there's so many mutas. Not a lot of anti-air here. Until the Phoenixes get out in high enough numbers, I think that he should be a little bit more hesitant. It does have a recall, I believe, available. Where is his mothership core? Did I lose it? Oh, it's over here. Doesn't really want to lose that. It is a valuable unit. That's 100 minerals and 100 gas you can spend on something else. More roaches. Roach upgrades finally starting. The speed about to finish up. Lots and lots and lots of queens. Zealots, the wrong place at the wrong time. And then it just dies. So let's figure out where those mutas are here. Where are they up to? Looks like they went up to the top. Looks like they didn't get much done either. We have 1 total probe kill, and I think that's from earlier in the game. Phoenix numbers starting to grow. Infestation pit going down now. With the amount of phoenixes and the anion pulse crystals. It's just, is that the only one that says research at the front of it? If you look at any other upgrades, none of them say research except for this one. Research anion pulse crystals. So that means that the name is actually has research in it. Pretty cool play out of some roaches here. Getting a few probe kills. Life's trying to abuse the fact that he's got a little bit more money to blow. Taking more bases. Creep spread's doing pretty good. It could be a bit better, I think. Particularly moving in this direction. Just to be able to see if there's run-bys on this side. He has so many queens too. I was expecting the creep to be a lot more aggressive. You see almost full energy on most of these queens here. Infestor's on the way. If you're going to go for Mutalisk, I'm glad that this is all that Life made for Mutalisks. Sometimes if you try to go too heavy into Muta and you just go up against these Phoenix numbers, the Phoenix just carve. They'll just carve through so much stuff. Particularly with range being completed. Nice little burrow play over there. I'm seeing a lot more players that like getting some high ground stuff, either like couple of crawlers, some cannons if you're a protoss player, just so that way you can control the high ground as well, so you don't get sniped as badly. It's a much bigger problem against Terrans. You can drop one medevac full of Marines and snipe half your mineral line in a couple seconds. Next base is going down. Protoss player has been pretty isolated. Hasn't really gone out and done much. Supply really hasn't been growing. And we see the Zerg player getting tons of upgrades. You generally don't see this big of a production tab unless you're watching a Terran player go. So I don't know if having all these queens with energy is part of his plan to be able to use them as part of an offensive. Ultralisk Cavern going down. Obviously queens with Ultralisks is a really good strategy. You can do tons and tons of damage, and Phoenixes can't do anything to Ultralisks. I don't think there's any robo tech really out right now either. There's a robo in place, but there's not like immortal production or anything going on right now to deal with it. 1-1 is happening now. Lots of stalkers. Where do they get warped in? I think the Protoss player wants to put some pressure on. He's been very reserved for a lot of this game. Phoenixes do get all fungled right now, but all the mutas are going to die regardless, and that was their job. Wow, those Phoenixes would have been really great to at least pick up some of the queens or something. 7 ultras on the way. These Phoenixes are just toasted. Look at the health on some of these. 1 hit point. Ridiculous. No detection with this army. That's a little unfortunate. We see queens and roaches burrowed right essentially underneath the army. Yeah, Welmu is going to return home. Should try to keep the mothership core alive, or let it die or kill it so it can be rebuilt with more energy. None of the players have a lot of a bank. We have a lot of gas saved up right now for the Zerg player. Doesn't have these units rallied right now though, unfortunately. So hopefully he doesn't forget about those. Those are very valuable. Stalkers, not the best unit against Immortals, but they can be very mobile. Blink is finished. It's going to come down some great fungals. They're going to help out as well. He did find out about those ultras down there. Some infestors, but he doesn't have any fungal energy right now. So he needs to delay for a moment or two. Very aggressive blink. That was ridiculously aggressive. All the ultras are stuck in the back. Force fields are cute when the Ultralisks can't crush through them immediately. This is a great attack here from Welmu. The fungals are finally happening now though. Queens with tons of transfuses are doing the best they can. They will be able to keep these Ultralisks alive a long time. A little bit of blink micro happening. Both these guys are taking some pretty heavy blows right now. Zerglings are a pretty good counter to this. I mean, the Protoss army has some upgrades in place, so they're cutting through the Zerglings pretty good. I think the Zerglings are at, yeah, 2-2. I think Welmu should retreat at this point there. I think he's got to realize here pretty soon that he traded well. Cost the Zerg player a lot of the bank of minerals. Look at all that gas, though. But he doesn't have everything he needs to be able to keep fighting on this level. We need more Immortals. We need something else. Nice little Zergling run by here. It's actually going to get a fair bit of damage in. And then just burrows. I think Welmu knows that that's there. There we go. There's the detection. More Zerglings. Going to be a Nusis. 13 Infestors. Infestor Ultra is a good combination. If you can lock down all the Stalkers so they can't run by. So we need to get some cannons down here, or at least build some kind of quasi-wall off here. He's not down considerably next to his opponent. His opponent only has one more base than he does. Now it's really just down to whether or not the control can be ideal for the Protoss, who's down a good chunk in supply. DTs could be a fun little attack piece. There are spores in these bases, so it's going to be hard to harass with them. But as part of your army, if you can use your Stalkers to snipe off Overseers, it's having, you know, those DTs go uncontested with +3 upgrades. They kill through stuff so fast. Fungals would lock them down. Oopsie, come back, your mouse. But that's it's asking a lot of you fungals. Corruptors and a Greater Spire happening right now. I think that's a smart move. This is a good map for Greater Spire. There's some really great spots you can use to siege up bases, and if you have great fungals in place, you can actually preserve those units quite well. Second robo going down. Immortals are in position. This might be enough here for Life to just straight out win. Supplies are pretty equal. Tons of hallucinated units in here as well. Just going to try to buy himself a little bit of HP. That's cute. If he had some detection, I'm sure he'd love to be able to pick off those infestors. Infestor don't get upgrades anymore, so they don't last super long. But free units, right? Get the free damage in. I wouldn't say Life's ahead by a mile or anything like that, but he's got a great composition, he's got a bank. And he's got just about every type of tech that he'd want right now. These are Broodlords. Obviously really well upgraded Stalkers with Blink can deal with these quite easily. But you don't generally want to Blink on top of an Ultralisk fungal army. Where are the DTs warping in? Well, one of them just died wherever it was. A couple of them did. He's using them essentially more to just scout around and see stuff. That's a nice little hit squad. He's going to come over here when they have enough energy and probably just decimate this base. Could either fungal it or hit it with any type of infestatorans. Fungals, two fungals could kill tons and tons of workers there. Finally getting himself a Templar Archives into place. I think he risks a lot trying to push out with this army against this right now. You could win, or you could just get sniped by great fungals. There's not as many queens, obviously, in this army at all anymore, but so many of the stalkers went down because they blinked forward. There's not enough to deal with these broodlords anymore. He's not going to stay there and fight now that he's lost so many of them. There's a big warp into more stalkers. That should help him out a fair bit. Protoss actually has a lead in overall workers. That might have been our Zerg player trading off a bit of a supply. Life's got quite a few worker kills in this one there. But DT as part of that mix did things well. That's why you want those cannons on the high ground. That's gonna hurt. Immortals with all their upgrades are doing quite well against this. There isn't a lot of armor upgrades in here, so these stalkers are getting mowed. As much as all the Ultralisks are dying at a record pace, I don't think he's got enough in place to deal with the swarm hosts. Couple of transfuses, and yeah, he's not going to be able to take care of it. GG, well played. Long game. Startale Life does put one on the board, and we're moving off into game number 4.